Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Screaming Eagles Airsoft 101. I'm Andrew Mullins, your host today, and we have a very special episode for you today. We're going to continue the story of the strategies of Alexander the Great and how he became an undefeated general, and we're going to talk about the Battle of Isis and Gaugamela and the guerrilla campaigns of northeastern Persia. But first, I got a gun review for you all. It's the Echo 1 ST6 DevCrew M4 rifle, and I'm going to do a short gun review on that. I was very impressed with it. So we'll do the gun review first, and then we'll do Alexander the Great. Well guys, here I have it, the Echo 1 ST6 DevCrew M4 rifle. I like how it's compact. It's really short, as you can tell. It's not quite as short as my M4, but it is pretty short. I love the special logos they put on it. They put like a little skeleton frog that says you can run but you can't hide, and it has honor and duty on the bullet discharge chamber, and it's got like a skull with all these kills on it. I thought that was really cool. And if you look at the box, it has like stuff like Somalia, Kandahar, Kabul, Iraq, 9/11, 2001. We will never forget. It really pays homage to the wars we fought in Afghanistan and Iraq and all the soldiers over there. But I fired this gun. Shoots real good. I mean, shoots real good. It has very good automatic features. It takes a 2-cell battery in right here in the buttstock. Most of it is plastic. It's an Echo 1. However, I found out that it is an extremely well-priced gun. I think it's like under $200 easy. It comes with a hand grip with it. It comes with little rail pads for it, so you don't, so you can get a more comfortable feel of holding your gun. It comes with a rear sight right here that you can take off. Pretty much, I give it a 9 out of 10. Of course, it is an M4, and I love M4s. But 9 out of 10 for its basic compactness. The only thing I have against this is plastic body, but that shouldn't be a major con for you to avoid buying this gun, because it's a really good, I'd say it's a really good starter gun. Comes with a high capacity magazine, and 9 out of 10, shoots very, very well. I shot it outside, and I got about 100 feet out of it, pretty accurate. After that, I just had to adjust the hop up a little bit, make it go a little bit further. But I give it a 9 out of 10. I recommend this to anybody who's looking for a gun under the $200 mark. And there we go. M4 ST6 DevCrew Echo 1 carbine. Okay guys, I'm now going to talk about continuation of the strategies of Alexander the Great. Right now, I have a page pulled up. You probably can't see it at all, but it's the statistics of the Battle of Isis. It was the second major land battle between Alexander and the Persian Empire of Darius III. Pretty much during the battle, Alexander the Great led his army of 40,850. It was pretty much 13,000 javelin throwers, 22,000 phalanx troops, and 5,000 cavalry. Darius, pretty much, we had different sources, but pretty much primary sources say 85,000 to 100,000 of Darius soldiers. We have a few, Delbrook, who says 25,000 in total, and Wari says 108,000 in total. But the Battle of Isis took place pretty much right where Turkey and Syria meet, where the bend is at in the Middle East. We have right here, it took place in 330 BC, and right here we have a basic map of what happened at the Battle of Isis. That's how troops formed. What Alexander did is that he went around up in here and went down around and he approached Darius right here around the Panaris River. And Darius, he had his cavalry right here, his Parmenion right here. As I talked in the last one, he has mixed troops and cavalry right here. And Alexander's right flank was right here. His phalanx troops moved in through here. What Darius did is, and this is the basic thing of what I told you of the shield. Parmenion moved up to here. Darius' heavy cavalry forced Parmenion to push back. But while it forced him to push back, the phalanx moved forward while still secure in the right flank right here, this section of the phalanx moved forward, broke Darius' lines right here, while the rear guard broke it right here. So Darius' lines was broke right here. So the Macedonian lines never broke. What the Macedonians' lines is, the Macedonians bent their line so that they could, sort of like, imagine a water balloon. You squeeze one end of it, the other end bulges. Pretty much that's what Alexander did. His line right here condensed, while his line up here increased. And that increased just enough for him to break Darius' lines and defeat Darius. So that was the Battle of Issus. It was a very decisive battle. The next battle, Alexander would move on to the city of Tyre and Gaza, and he would take over Egypt. And he would not see Darius, I think, for another 2 years. Okay guys, what you're seeing is a scene from the movie Alexander the Great. It came out in 2004, and it's talking about the Battle of Gaugamela, the most decisive battle in the wars of Alexander the Great against Persia. Right here you see that's Darius right there, as portrayed in the movie. He sends his chariots and cavalry forward first. And the way the battles of Alexander had is, he had his Parmenion on the left, his phalanx in the middle, Alexander was on the right, and he had a backup phalanx in the rear to protect his camp. Phalanx moved very slowly compared to the cavalry. However, it was not expected that the chariots, they thought, Darius' chariots had the size, he expected his chariots to be able to trample right over the Macedonians. And what the Persians didn't realize is, or they didn't think to realize is, the Macedonians have 20-foot long spears. They're not going to be touched. You had about 250,000 Persians going up against about 40,000 to 50,000 Macedonians and allies, Macedonian and Greeks. You're going to see there's the Persian Empire amassing this way, and there's the Macedonian phalanx right here. And here's what the key thing of what Alexander did in this battle. Alexander did an extreme right flank. He has far extended his lines. And Bessius, the Bactrian cavalry commander during the battle of Gaugamela, followed Alexander. But Alexander had a trick up his sleeve. Behind his cavalry he had light infantry with swords and shields. And he was just galloping along. He picked up the pace a little bit. Bessius fell for it. He went toward Alexander, expecting to clash like this. But Alexander did something that Bessius did not expect, nor did Darius, and this was the decisive moment of the Battle of Gaugamela. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and show you the decisive moment of Alexander the Great. I'll let it buffer a little bit. And here you go right here. That was when the infantry and cavalry hit the phalanx lines. Here's the Macedonian left where Parmenion would be. They were forced to bulge forward like they would, and you would, similar to the water balloon effect I talked to, you press on one end, the other end will bulge. That's what they were doing. The center was getting pushed back and Parmenion was getting pushed forward. And warfare back then was very, very, very brutal. But, I mean, you're thinking, they used swords and spears back then. What's that have to do with airsoft guns? Just think about the way they maneuver, the bulge effect. Now here's what Alexander did, and this is a key element that you can do in airsoft, and it will catch almost anybody off guard if they're not expecting it. You got Alexander right here personally commanding his right flank. And he tells Cassander, one of his chief generals, to go on forward and act like him pretty much and do the massive cavalry run. And Bessius is like, let's go forward too. And then as soon as this, Alexander says, let's do a left turn. And he does a decisive moment right here. And you see, right there is the main cavalry force, and there's Bessius' cavalry. What Alexander does is he turns like this, like a fish hook, and he goes back, because he knows that Bessius has gone too far forward. Now I'm going to show you what it is on the map right quick. pretty much, I mean, it was ingenious the way he did this too. Bessius was totally caught off guard. But the way Alexander, he moved his forces like this, and Bessius countered him. Then when he hit that certain moment, Alexander took half of his force and went this way. And then the cavalry engaged right here, of course. And Alexander went right through the middle, straight to the Persian lines. Now, looking on the big battle, you would see this. There's the Persians, there's the Macedonians, and there's Parmenion, and they moved in like this. And then the cavalry moved like this, of course. They engaged right here, and then Alexander's cavalry went right here and broke a line right here. Almost killed Darius in the process, but Darius escaped. Even though he escaped the battle of Issus, or the battle of Gaugamela, it pretty much signaled the end of the Persian Empire. And after that battle, it was pretty much guerrilla warfare for the next 4 to 3 years in northeastern Persia. He pretty much continued to chase down Darius in what would be now northern Iran and southern Afghanistan, or southwest Afghanistan. And it was just continuous fighting with tribes. And a key element, if you're going to fight, and here's another key element that I'll get more into probably next episode actually, and that is how to fight a guerrilla war. Guerrilla war is a very tricky subject. I'm going to give you pretty much a little basic intro on it. But when you're fighting a guerrilla army, which is hit and run tactics, the best thing you can do is persistence. You can't quit a guerrilla war if you're well organized and a larger force. You have to continue persisting and persisting and persisting and adapt to their movements. But that's it. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Screaming Eagles Airsoft 101. This is part 2 of our Alexander campaign. I talked about the Battle of Issus and Gaugamela. And next episode, we will be joining you from Ocala, Florida, or Ocala, Florida. I don't know. Ocala, Florida. As I and a few members from the Southwest Virginia Airsoft Federation and Theta Airsoft will be down in a game called America 2. More information about that in next episode, of course. But we will be joining you down there live, or not live, but we will be joining you down in Ocala, Florida. February 25th, we'll be filming it, but it'll be on next weekend, of course. And we'll join you down there, and we'll talk about the guerrilla campaigns of Alexander the Great. I won't have the computer to play with, but we'll talk about the campaigns and the guerrilla warfare that Alexander the Great fought in Bactria and Sogdia before he entered India. And we may have a gun review for you, but we'll bring you a lot of special footage from America too. That's what I think a lot of people want to see, is the strategy of Alexander the Great, and footage from a large regional game in Ocala, Florida. So we hope you enjoyed this episode of Screaming Eagles Airsoft 101. I'm your host, Andrew Mullins, and we'll see you next week in Ocala, Florida.